of '93. Yeah, Mark, Ed, and I, the originators of the band, all graduated high school, different schools, but we met through a mutual friend, and we just started jamming. And we were terrible. Like we didn't take lessons. We didn't know how to play. We didn't know anything, man. So we just got together and started jamming on stuff. We like started out playing Nirvana covers and all kinds of terrible shit.
Easiest songs we could pick out, even if it was parts of songs. Like I remember we used to jam on Twisted Cane from Danzig, just because it was such an easy riff, and we just escalated from there. We were just trying to find ourselves really, and
we were barely a band.
Yeah,
we literally just got together and started jamming, you know. Yeah. And then for a few years we kind of toiled around, like up in the Poconos playing small shows, you know, like 20 kids, stuff like that. And I went to high school with the guys from Turmoil, so it was like everybody loved Turmoil, and it was like, you know, we couldn't compare to that. So we just kind of toiled around, and I guess it was like 95 we met Martha Labar at a
Life of Agony concert at CC's
show, and she gave us our first real shot in Spanky's in Stroudsburg, man. And we always kind of considered we considered at least Denile kind of like a Stroudsburg band. Like that's where we came up. But we got, you know, we really kind of dragged our balls through glass at Spanky's. You know, that's where we learned. Yeah. We learned the ropes. You know, we met tons of people there. Yeah, everybody knows Walt from Stroudsburg. Yeah. And he really supported us, and
Rat Boy.
Martha, Rat Boy. Like all these people really started supporting us, and you know, we met like Rick from 25 to Life, and the guys in Shutdown and Surrounded and Fury of 5 and Crutch. We met there for the first time, and everyone was so cool to us, and just kind of, you know, took us in, even though we weren't like really that style.
Yeah, and it was nice because it was a place where we could go and kind of not fit in, but yet still feel comfortable and have somewhat of a following that enjoyed our presence there as well. So it was nice. Awesome. That club was badass, dude.
Nick, right? Wasn't it Nick, the first guy who went?
Yeah, I think it was Nick. Yeah. That place was great, man. That was probably like the first stage I ever fell through. It was pretty awesome. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, that was kind of like I said, where we kind of learned the ropes there, and we decided that we're gonna go insane. Like we loved playing. You know, it was natural for us. It wasn't any kind of like timed shit where like, oh, we're all gonna jump on this downbeat or whatever. It was just, you know, it was real. It was intense.
It was definitely real. We put everything we had into almost every show. I would say not even almost every show. Every show. I mean, we'd leave shows hurting, bloody, busted knuckles, like whatever. You know what I mean? Like just because it was nice. The scene is cool because it's a place where you can let out your anger that you can't let out on the streets or anywhere else, and that's what was kind of nice. We could put our heart and soul into our music and dish it out on stage, and that was the best part about it.
Spanky's was awesome. I mean, it just that shitty little stage in the corner when it first started out. It was real dark, and it was just, I don't know, man. It was like a dive.
It was like bi-level stage.
Yeah,
it was pretty awesome.
Then we got into CC's, and I mean, for us, like, you know, growing up, again, following Turmoil and playing these like shitty little nowhere clubs, CC's was like playing the fucking Garden. You know, for us, like everyone who was anybody played CC's. So for us to get in there and get to, you know, play with bands like Earth Crisis and, you know, Turmoil, One King Down, Burial Ground, all those bands, it was just, for us, it was like the best, you know?
Yeah, it was awesome.
And Vince, of course.
Well, yeah. Vince was a cool guy, man. Cool guy.
Another dude that just supported, man.
Yeah, and that was cool. Like, you could go up there and, you know, you'd have no shows booked, and you could leave that place and have 5 shows booked just because of talking to Vince. And, you know, he was real supportive, and, you know, starting out as opening acts, and before you know it, you're not opening anymore. Now you're, you know, maybe not co-headlining, but you're like in the middle, you know, like decent slots, you know, you're drawing a crowd. It was nice. It was nice having the support from club owners that cared, you know.
Do you guys, everyone seems to have one, do you guys have a particular Vince story?
The thing with me, like for Vince, and I think we ended up taking it on, was Vince, he knew everyone's first name and their band name. So he called you like Eddie Denile or Tony Denile, you know. Yeah. So we ended up taking it on, like, and we did it like with the Dysphoria guys all the time. And it was, you know, Chris Dysphoria and like Neil Dysphoria, and I don't know, man. He was just a pisser, and it was so cool to see like his family was like his mom and dad were there, like he was cooking shit in the back. His dad's working the door.
His dad's working the door and stuff, and
Yeah.
Hey, Vince around. Oh yeah, he's upstairs with the headliner. Hold on, I'll go get him for you. You know.
Man, there's always something always happened at CC's. Like there was never a dull moment. He'd be out in the back playing volleyball with people and shit. Like he was just, I don't know, man. It's cool that there's. I don't think I would look at Vince and say, wow, he's like a metalhead or into hardcore stuff.
No.
The way he was just supportive of like the local scene and brought in like, you know, nationals as far as hardcore was concerned was just. It was great for the area. It really was. It gave kids a place to go.
It really kept kids off the streets, you know what I mean? And that was a good thing. It kept us off the streets for a long time.
Yeah. Any particular CC show that sticks out to you? For you
Our very
guys?
first one that we actually had an awesome response. I don't even remember who we played with, but it was amazing. Like we're on stage and all we see is a wall of people coming at us, singing our lyrics and stuff, and we were like. We all looked at each other at some point on stage and we were like, is this really happening? Like these kids are singing our words back to us. Like this means a lot. Like maybe not so much that we're like touching them with our lyrics or anything, but it's just cool that they're recognizing our lyrics and our statement in the scene, which was awesome, you know. And to me that was probably the best show that I think I've ever played. And honestly, just because it took me by surprise.
I think the one that we were the first band, but it was us, Mushmouth, Burial Ground, Coalesce, One King Down.
I don't think it was.
Or Converge.
I don't know if it was Converge.
I'm missing one of the bands, but it was us, Mushmouth, Burial Ground, One King Down, Turmoil and Earth Crisis.
Yeah.
And I mean, we were the first band playing. The place was already. You know, packed to the walls. He had the typical line that went out to freaking Route 11. Like it was just a typical CC's night, and it was insane, and it was awesome. And just to to be playing with some of those bands that traveled all over the world, and just to get that experience.
Yeah.
You know, for us coming from Jim Thorpe, and like I said, just not even knowing how to play at first. It was huge, We owe Vince a great debt of gratitude for stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Play
We got
regularly.
adopted by the Lansdale crew. We actually met Dysphoria at Spanky's. We played this front room show and basically played in front of each other. It was one of those nights. And they adopted us. I mean, they brought us down to Lansdale, got us involved. Then, we became good friends with the guys in Chine. Inkling was around, 13 PFP, all those guys, and we seemed to play with them a lot. We really did a lot of shows together.
And Mitch, from 13 PFP, that dude hooked us up so good, with Double Down Records and stuff like that. Like he really helped us out. He helped the scene out a lot for Lansdale. He was I feel he was a major supporter of the Lansdale scene. I mean, to me that's awesome. It was cool to have someone help us out along the way as well. That was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, what Rick did, Rick from 25 to Life did for us early on with putting out the split with Dysphoria and stuff like that, he was really supportive. Mitch kind of came in later when we were starting to become more of a metal band. We kind of lost some of the hardcore roots and we're starting to go more thrash metal. And he came in and he embraced us and really helped us out. And we were working on a full length when we broke up in 2001, and it's out there. We don't. It's unmixed.
Yeah, it's pretty raw.
But it's out there, and I don't know. Maybe someday, maybe for our 20th anniversary, we'll pop it out. Who knows?
Yeah.
Turmoil.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I went to high school with them, so like I said, it was just Turmoil. And they're a great fucking band, And they're one of those bands. To me, they're a band's band. I don't think they got the recognition that they ever deserved. They're phenomenal, and they're all good guys.
Absolutely.
And that's another big thing is you talk to them, they're genuine good guys, and that's hard to come by. So it's unfortunate that they're not really doing much these days, and I am in contact with a few of them, but they were huge.
Yeah, I would agree. I would say Turmoil is probably the most influential for me as well. They definitely made a big impact on my life. I mean, my very first hardcore show was a Turmoil show, and that was before they were huge. They didn't even, Jim Thorpe following really, and that's all they had. And just to go from seeing that to seeing how they became later on, it was really awesome. And their fame never, not that they had a lot of fame, but their status never really got to their heads. They always stayed true to themselves, and they always hung out with people,
They're just killer musicians, man. Like,
Yeah.
they really are. You want to talk about guys that can really play. I mean, they can fucking play.
Yeah.
Well, we went, we did a tour down to Florida and back, you know, just a couple dates, because it was hard for us. We all worked, you know, so we could only do like a week, something like that.
10 days usually.
Yeah, and we, you know, we were getting good responses, and it was just difficult because we weren't supporting any nationals or anything like that. It was really DIY, and, you know, by that time we were all starting to get our lives underway. You know, I had moved further away from the band, and it just got difficult, you know. So our bass player was kind of getting ready to quit, and then I ended up, you know, having other stuff to do. So I quit, and I started going. A couple months later, I started working with a rock band, and Ed actually went and played with Sever the Fallen, and Mark and Sean really haven't played since. I think it's great that it's still going, and, you know, for us to even be asked to be, you know, part of this is really, it's really amazing to us. You know, we felt like we were such a little part of it, but hopefully, you know, bands like us, even the bands that were like the perpetual support bands, you know, they had a part in it. It's still, every once in a while, you know, someone comes up to us and like, oh man, you guys used to go fucking bananas or whatever, and it feels good. It feels good to be remembered, you know, on some level. And, I was just thinking, we were talking about shows and just like going crazy. We played out in Pittsburgh once, and no one knew who the fuck we were, you know. And we played in this like library, like by Carnegie Mellon University. And this girl booked us on a whim. I don't even know how she even knew us, but we go out there and they keep pushing us later and later and later in the night, and we're like, nobody knows us, no one's gonna stay, you know. So by the end of the night, we get up there, and, you know, most of the crowd is gone or whatever.
Yeah.
We go fucking ballistic. We play 4 songs, we basically break all of our shit and just like walk off. We're like, fuck this place, we're out of here, you know? And it was kind of just like, to me, it like epitomized what Denile was. It was just like, you know, go in there, fucking go crazy, we played for each other more than we played for the crowd, you know?
Yeah.
And just enjoy it, you know? And I hope bands still do that, man. I hope they're playing because they love music, not because they're trying to be somebody, you know, or to be something they're not. It's always been, I mean, for me at least, the hardcore scene has always been about like the music and the camaraderie. You know, we had great friends that we hung out with all the time.
Yes.
And if Denile, the saddest part about us breaking up probably is just the friendships that kind of dissipate when the band breaks up. Or life goes on.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much summed it all up. I mean, I can't really say much more to that. I mean, that's pretty much how I feel too. Like, it was definitely a huge part of my life. I enjoyed like our run that we had, whether it was a short, long, or, you know, middle of the road type of run. But it was awesome. It really taught me a lot as a you know, it was perfect. Like,
yeah, man, when you look back, and I think a lot of the bands, when we look back, you hear the same names. You know what I mean? There's these definite, like, the foundations of the scene, you know, and in Stroudsburg, you know, it's fucking Walt and Ratboy, you know what I mean?
And they're still there, which is awesome. Like, those guys are still going to shows, and they're still supporting, and that's awesome, because you don't hear of that all that much.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely cool that those guys are still around and still supporting. I mean, if I had more time, I'd support a little bit more, you know. I mean, they gave to me, I'd like to give back as well. It's just time doesn't always permit.